Hello and welcome. My name is Josh, and I love horror movies. I love everything about this time of year. I love Halloween. I love October, the seasons, the leaves changing, everything. I love it all. I love movies as well, just movies in general, but my favorite type of movie is the horror movie. It's my favorite genre, and every year for Halloween, I watch 31 movies that I've never seen before that run the entire gamut through the history of film from the silent era to the modern day. And so when I would post on Facebook and later Instagram, oh look, this is the movie I'm watching tonight. And then after I saw the movie, I would put a little text review of the movie, just for fun, for my friends to see. And one of my friends, who's a filmmaker, said, why don't you try making videos of these reviews? Nothing like the modern day video essays or the crazy stuff that people used to do before, but just these are my thoughts. Kind of like a vlog. Just here's a movie I saw. This is what I thought about it. And I thought, you know what? Give it a try. Maybe someday, when I know how to edit videos, maybe, or have a camera that's actually good for that type of thing. And then I decided, what the hell, let's do it anyway. So I am using my photography camera. I am a photographer, not professional, but I am a photographer. But I don't like to do editing. It's not really my thing. So I don't have any means of really editing this. In fact, I had the choice, is I could use the camera on my laptop, which is shitty quality, but I could at least do some basic editing through like Google Photos or something. Or I could have a better quality video, but absolutely no way for me to edit it outside of whatever basic tools I'm sure YouTube has. Hopefully it'll have something I can cut the front end off so you don't get wonderful shots of me sitting down. Entertaining, I'm sure. So this is going to be, like I said, just me talking to the camera, no script or nothing, as evidenced by the fact that I've already reshot this 5 times now, so hopefully the 6th time's the winner. So anyway, the first movie I watched this month, part of a long-running franchise, 7th installment. And I know you're all going to guess exactly what that movie is. It was Bring It On, Cheer or Die. Yeah, who would have guessed that, the film's known for being about cheerleading and how great it is to be a cheerleader would have made a horror film. I would not have guessed that. And they didn't make a very good one. I'll be honest with you. Watching it, it's definitely one of those films where they had an idea for a horror movie that might involve school, a bunch of teenagers, your typical slasher film tropes. And then someone thought, well, you know what would get people to watch this movie? If we put it in as a Bring It On franchise. They did exactly what they were doing in the 90s with the Hellraiser films, where they took a script somebody else had already written for a different horror movie and just kind of made it a Hellraiser film. And I feel like that's exactly what they did here. Because it's barely a Bring It On movie, I watched the other films in the franchise leading up to this in case there was any type of connection or continuity between them, so that way then I would hopefully fully understand this thing. None of these films at all, out of these 7 films, are interconnected. They may, I suppose, take place in the same cinematic universe, but that's their only connection. And they probably all take place in California. At the very least, most of these did. I don't recall if this one does. It's not really important, though. There's no, other than the name, there's no interconnection between any of these movies. But yeah, no, watching this movie, it feels very much like I said, somebody had an idea, or what they thought was a cool idea for a horror movie, and then they decided, oh, well, you know what's going to bring it in? Going to get ourselves a built-in audience. We're going to make it a Bring It On film. And it succeeds at being a terrible version of either of those things. It is both a terrible slasher film, and it is the second worst film, I would say, in the Bring It On films franchise. I actually like one of them. I like the fourth one a lot. That one I would watch again. All of the other ones, they're not my cup of tea. And it's not because these are films primarily made for teenage girls, and obviously I, as a 38-year-old man, should not be watching them. There's nothing like that. You can watch any movie. You don't have to necessarily be a member of a specific genre or a specific crowd to watch a movie and enjoy it. That's all bullshit. The idea that cartoons are just for kids or that rom-coms are just for, women and teenage girls, that's all fucking bullshit. Or that, only men can enjoy action films. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. But the film has to at least be good. And in my opinion, has admittedly not a member of any of the demographics that these films are made for, the Bring It On films. I'm not into sports. I liked, as a teenage boy who was into girls, I liked looking at the cheerleaders well enough, but it wasn't like a thing I was obsessed with. Not into dance, not into gymnastics. Though I will admit, the one thing those films did do was give me a greater appreciation for just the sheer amount of skill and technique involved in cheerleading. I never really thought about it, but, that's kind of impressive. That, a bunch of 16-year-old guys and girls who are mostly smaller than me and less muscle and not as strong as I am, can just hurl this, admittedly probably the lightest member of the team, 90, 100-pound person, essentially 30 feet into the air, and then I couldn't do that then. I can't do that now. I mean, I'm a big husky guy. I have some muscle on me though, but my God, I cannot fathom being able to do that, and that to me is impressive. And then all the choreography and all the, that stuff's all very impressive. That being said, I could never tell at the end of any of these movies who won, because they all have a big, competition at the end, and I would just be watching it and be kind of equally impressed, and then be like, well, this one won. And the only reason why I knew who that was is because, well, this is the team we've been following throughout the entire movie. But otherwise, it'd be like, what did this one do that that one didn't do? Like, how is this one better than that one? But anyway, not part of any of the demographics for the Bring It On films. I was not someone who's particularly interested in cheerleading or dance or gymnastics. Not really into sports movies. I'm not a sporty guy. I don't know if you can tell, but I don't have the body of someone who likes to be outside where sport happens. That's why I got into movies, because with movies, it's kind of my element. It's a dark room where you can be alone. I'm not really into sports at all. I do like sports movies though, but because they're all about usually about some underdog overcoming something, or they're about coming together as a group and and all of that to overcome something. They're always about overcoming something. And that's probably why this film didn't really work as a sports movie, because the slasher movie trope characters, they don't ever really come together. In fact, you spend the entire movie trying to get them apart so that way then you can take them out in a hopefully creative way, which this film didn't do either. So they're not and then they didn't do anything that would be fun. I thought, okay, so they're going to use cheerleading as a means to dispatch the killer or fight back, and they did a little bit towards the end of the movie. Or maybe cheerleading would in some way feature into the kills, but they're just standard, kill. It's been a week, I don't even remember what some of them were, except that they weren't very bloody or creative in any way. They didn't showcase makeup effects in any way. It was mostly just somebody walked, one I do remember, that's why I should film these after the movie instead of, a week later. One I do remember is someone was pounding on a door, trying to get someone's attention, and they didn't realize yet that there was a killer out. So they saw this and they thought that this was someone making out with another person. And it's just kind of them being like kind of stabbed from behind, and like, that happens in every horror movie. There's nothing creative about that. At least, a lot of slasher movies. Like, we've seen this before. Now, as an introductory slasher film, would I recommend this if you were, like, say, trying to introduce, your young teenage son or daughter to horror movies? No, this isn't even a good version of that. This is just a bad movie and not a good example of slashers, or, for that matter, the Bring It On films, which like I said, I am not a fan of by and large. But aside from one other film in that franchise, those are all leaps and bounds better than this. So I can't recommend this. If anyone, unless you're just genuinely curious, because it is kind of unusual to see a film franchise do like a complete 180 and like, now we're going to be something else. And it has been done successfully. I mean, you could argue it happened with the Evil Dead films. The second, Evil Dead 2 is very much a horror comedy. And then you get into Army of Darkness, and it's just a straight-up action comedy. There is horror elements there, but like the first Evil Dead film, it was very much just trying to be just a straight-up, blood-to-the-walls horror movie. So there was kind of a transition there into something else that was quite successful, to me anyway. And to, all the people who love those movies. This did not do that successfully. So I cannot recommend this movie. I'm not going to destroy it or nothing, because, that's fun when shows like Red Letter Media does it, but, let's be honest here. It's just a piece of bad art. It's not worth getting angry about. I'm just telling you an opinion.